Hello again. Hi, I'm Sunir, President of the Cloud Software Association and CEO of AppBind. I'm here with another Agency Connect, this time with Ryan Jones from Refuel Creative, all the way from Adelaide, Australia. Thanks for making time to do this and tell the stories about what it's like to work with software partners. So
No
with
worries.
that, why don't you introduce yourself, Ryan? I mean, you have quite a practice. Tell us about what Refuel does.
So, Refuel Creative is a digital marketing agency. So, we support a range of different businesses and non-profit organisations, primarily in Australia, but throughout sort of New Zealand and Southeast Asia as well. We've been around for 3.5 years, and a lot of that time we've been a HubSpot partner, and that's sort of grown our interest in this area. I've been a particularly tech savvy person my whole life. I was studying engineering at uni for a few years before I saw the error of my ways and jumped onto marketing. So I know Sunir, you were saying before that we do a lot from sort of Microsoft through to HubSpot and a range of other things. And we find that it's good to be able to dive into somebody's tech stack appropriately and plan out things in a way that we know that they're going to talk to each other and we know that they're going to work.
I too am a computer scientist who ended up in marketing through a series of unfortunate life decisions, I'd like to say. I like the parties more than I like the coding. As we met through Agency Connect cocktails, so there you go. I mean, you have partners that you list on your site proudly. AdRoll, AirCall, BigCommerce, CallRail, Cloudflare, Drift, Google, HubSpot, Microsoft, SendGrid, Shopify, WordStream. It's quite a lot of tech you put front and center. In your when you're selling to a client, do you lead with the technology you're bringing in, or you're leading with the problem that they have? I'm curious.
We're leading with the problem. We've always got to lead with the problem because there's no point in selling them a shiny thing if they're not actually going to need it or if they're going to use it appropriately. But ultimately, a lot of our clients, it sort of allays something in their mind and they're a little less daunted if it's a brand that they can recognize and it's a brand that they know that other people use. When they're investing in, let's say, something like HubSpot, that might be a very large investment for them compared to their other marketing costs. So they like to be able to ask other people and talk about it.
Yeah. I think a lot of software companies believe that agencies like yourself lead with the technology before they get to the problem. It's never the case. Well, let's talk about that. So, you worked with a lot of software companies. I'm sure the ones you feature, or I'm sure you came to after some working with many more. So, who's been your most disappointing software partner, and why? Why? What happened? You don't have to name names, but like, what was the thing that they let you down on?
I think the most disappointing ones treat you as just another sales channel rather than a partner. It's one thing to say that you're a partner, but it's another thing to exhibit that give and take that is a primary part of a partnership. So if we have a client that we feel like is a good fit for the solution and they can't make the time to talk to us about it, they make it difficult to onboard the client. They want to basically take on the relationship with the client. They don't want to work with us to manage the solution. Well, they don't want to work with us. They just want to sell to as many people as possible. I know we all, to an extent, want to sell to as many people as possible, but as the partners here, we want to know that if we're recommending a software provider, that our client will be treated in a fair and equitable way.
And so, the ones you have listed, what have they done differently? They're like, what are the best partners doing to like earn that trust from you?
So the best partners are working with us on not just the sales side, but also the usage side. HubSpot's a really good example of that. The way that they have people in HubSpot that will work with us on making sure that we're getting the most out of the tools for the clients. That means that if we do have a completely ridiculous, outrageous idea of something that we want to do on the platform, they can generally track somebody down who can talk to us about how we would do that with their system. We work with a couple of providers where we chat directly with them on Slack, and they just make it easier to work with them. And then when an opportunity comes up, they're front of mind, they're easy to slot into the proposal, they're easy to slot into the tech stack, and it's a relationship that we enjoy working with them rather than feeling like they're just out for blood.
Let's put these kind of three ideas together. So you're not leading with the technology, you're leading with the problem, and they're supporting you as a partner, not just treating you as a sales channel. So how would a software partner properly work with you in order to, in the first phase when you're selling to a client? How do you involve them? How do you position them? How do they support you?
Well, Sunir, I think an important thing to just mention there is that a lot of people would not like to hear this, but nobody wants to buy your software. And cloud computing, while the software as a service software is so much more affordable than it's been in the past, you can exhibit this death by a thousand cuts type model where you've got so many of these microtransactions on a monthly basis that they add up to these enormous amounts of money. So people don't want to buy a piece of software, they want to buy a solution to a problem. So what we need to do is, first of all, and funnily enough, I was talking to a software vendor about this an hour ago. Who are the people that you feel are the best fit for your software? Is there a way that we can have a nice, easy dialogue with you so that if we get somebody that we feel like is appropriate, can we easily reach out to you and go, this is the scenario, this is what the client needs to do, is this something that your software can do? If your software can't do it, don't tell me that it can, tell me that it can't, or tell me that it's a thing that you're working on and you'll let me know when you can. Because, the worst thing that you can do there is promise that you can do it and then find that it doesn't work at all. So you need to invest in these relationships, you need to invest in the materials and the resources that the partners need to do their job effectively, and then we'll all have a great relationship.
And who do you think is a good example of a company? You might have mentioned, but who do you think is the best one people can look to, who has provided that kind of support and understanding positioning as a company?
I think HubSpot do a great job of that. I know that there are some smaller software vendors. I'll give a shout out to Cradle. They've been fantastic to work with over the last 6 months. As an example, with somebody like Cradle, it's easy for us to start to use their platform because they're providing us with trial licenses that we can use for our own R&D. So we don't have a huge investment to get into their platform, to get experience with their software, and they're just easy to deal with on the sales side as well. So when we have those easy relationships and they understand it, that's the most successful.
And I guess my last question is, you just mentioned you just talked to a new software vendor today. Agencies get reached out to by software vendors all the time, I'm sure, to your chagrin. What would you say a software vendor should do when they first reach out to you in order to make the relationship work? Because we all know there's terrible ways to reach out, which is just treating you as a sales channel. Sell more of my stuff now. I don't even know you. I don't know who you are, but okay. What's the right way to approach you?
Tell us where it fits in with what we're already doing. If you've spent 4 seconds on our website, you'd be able to work that out. If it does replace something that we're already using, that we're already promoting on our website, you need to tell us why. And a big bugbear of mine, being in Australia and being the other side of the world, do not expect me to get up at 5 a.m. for you to sell to me all the time. If you can stay back at work by an hour and we can get a more attractive time, then we'll get along much better.
Well, a surprise. You have your own life. I don't.
It's weird.
No. But your life is revolving around my sales quota. That's.
It's not all about you.
You laugh because it's true. That's how so many conversations begin. That's why we're having these conversations, because I'm trying to break through the wall. So thank you so much, Ryan. I really appreciate it. you making the time and telling your story and perspective, and hopefully make the world a little bit better for Australians in particular.
No problems. Thank you.
All right, take care. For more great insights on partnerships and software, like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.